My name is Tommy Springfield. In today's video, as you can see, maximum security inside Walpole State Prison. This is a prison in Massachusetts, and yes, this video is old, but it gives you a look on what's going on. It keeps popping up on my timeline, so I figured they wanted me to show you this video. And mind you, even though this video may be 15, 20 years old, I guarantee you the prison hasn't changed much. They're not putting any dollars into bettering prisons and updating prisons and remodeling them. So let's get to the video.
In Massachusetts, Walpole State Prison is the end of the line. It houses 700 of the state's most violent, unmanageable offenders. 300 corrections officers come to work here every day. Their job is to impose order onto an environment that constantly threatens to spin out of control.
Morning. How you doing? Now, you're not carrying any bullets or...
This security checkpoint is the only way in or out. Since it was opened in 1956, no one has ever escaped from Walpole.
Okay, 2 cameras. You guys are carrying. Do you know that aluminum foil is contraband? Thank you. And I'm gonna stamp your inner right wrist just in case you guys get lost in there. I don't think you want to spend the night, right?
What do they make out of aluminum foil?
I mean, just about anything. You can make little bombs out of it, use matches, anything with a spark on it. It's not allowed in the institution.
How do you make a bomb out of aluminum foil?
If you have 24 hours in your cell, you can think of a lot of ways. You have some smart inmates in there.
We can come to work one morning and not go home. And certainly that plays heavily on your mind sometimes. We've had people quit the first day that they come in. Some people it takes them a little bit longer, but you know within a short period of time whether this is for you or not.
We came here to follow an 11-member team known officially as the Inter-Perimeter Security Unit, or IPS. They are the police in a world composed entirely of the state's most hardened criminals.
Same thing.
Okay, just about there.
What gets you into Walpole is repetitive misbehavior at other institutions. We have inmates serving sentences in here ranging from drug convictions to multiple homicides, and it runs the entire gamut. It's not just based on your crime. The majority of it is based on your behavior.
Within hours, one gang member has slashed another.
Yo, you put a shit?
Johnny. Yeah, I didn't want bitch. That's right, bitch. Come out of here.
Oh, did he just come out and was like, you pulled a shank on me? Yeah, he just told. Yeah, that's what he did. He told.
Yeah, okay, just hang on.
Something was tampered with.
That might be it. 2 screws.
It looks a little long for the clamp. The spoon is rounded. He may have cut that. Yeah, it is cut on the end.
Last year alone, 98 inmates were seriously assaulted at Walpole, and 260 weapons were found.
Where are they getting that from, Jimmy?
Davino Rivera's cell.
If this is the way society wants to run their prisons in an orderly fashion, then we have to investigate crimes within the prison. We're not going to call the local police to come in here and do that. It's our jurisdiction, it's our responsibility to do that.
You might have flashing it, and it folds right back up again on the other side. I'm pulling that off, snapping it off. Front still looks the same, but the back edge is gone.
I'll have to check those. My brain is mangled.
Through the process of interrogation, the security unit hopes to gain information about other homemade weapons hidden within the cell block.
Hey, if you kick something in later on, we can do something for him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No guarantees are naturally, but...
Yeah, he said he's all done because for information purposes, his information line's done.
Okay.
Because if he goes back now, he's a fucking hero, you know what I'm saying?
Now I think the next one may be shaking the whole block. I'm waiting for that one next.
You know it's coming. You know it's coming. That's all right, but we gotta be able to, I don't know, we gotta be able to go in there and take our time. Really take our time.
and just go through every little thing that's in that picture.
The interrogation proves successful, and Lieutenant Grassi orders a surprise shakedown of the cell block known as Plymouth 2.
Hey, what's your 20?
You heard him, he said their interrogation was successful, so that means they gave up the information they needed.
Let's go. All right. All set. Ready? Go ahead. Go ahead.
What's the block? These guys in.
Alex, I hear all these toilets flushing. Does that mean anything?
Yeah, they're probably flushing things they're not supposed to have in themselves. For the paperwork, maybe the weapons. So.
Shakedowns are a logistical nightmare. The goal is to empty all 45 cells while keeping gang members from attacking.
And I can say they probably updated that now because when they raid the block, they shut off all the water, so ain't no more flushing shit.
Those 9 are compatible with each other, and if we kind of intermingle sectors, we're asking for troubles. Be cognizant of who's out with who. We're going to try to stay within the sectors. Okay. Annie, what we're looking for also are those hard toothbrushes, the Oral-B's. The Oral-B's. You know what they look like?
Yeah.
Take those. Yeah,
okay.
take them. This line of business is kind of paramilitary. I like to look at it as paramilitary as opposed to being like a police department. My father was in the service, so I'm an Army brat, so I think that brought me a long way because he was kind of a squared away person. He liked to have his uniform squared away and his boots shined. So you learn from that. Been having a problem with these eyeglasses because they're inside these earpieces. That's what they are. There's a sharp metal thing that's already sharpened to a point, and these guys have been stripping off the plastic and using these as weapons. Let's go see what this guy's up to. Yeah, stand over in the slop sink. Because you can't be with these dudes. Right in the slop sink. All right? What's up with this? These inmates try to be intimidating. Where's the other? So you kind of call their bluff. You have to know when they're not bluffing, of course, but you have to meet force with force, and we will always come out the victor. You got a prescription for these?
I use them just for fun.
Yeah? Around, huh? Yeah, okay. We'll be checking that out. I don't give.
The guys in the second tier, if you notice, I've been constantly looking up at them. If they start going astray or if they're doing something silly, I'm going to be right on it.
Keogh Van or Van Keogh. See if he's supposed to have some glasses because we're missing.
We're definitely removing those. What's the 2 ends?
We don't know. He threw them in the trash.
He's not going to be able to get a new pair.
That's correct. He says he needs them around, not even reading.
Wait a minute, you say they threw them in the trash? You just had them when you opened the envelope. What the fuck are you talking about, bro?
Little retrieving line here, fellas.
Danny!
What is that?
It's a retrieving line.
What does that mean?
When they're locked in, they can send, they can put a weight on the end of it and send things around to anybody in the block. You know, they throw it over the tier and the next guy will pass it down. It's a way of getting things around into in the block.
I'm going to tell you, mate.
I want to check this toothbrush out because it looks like it may be one of the ones we're looking for. He's got this wrapped around pretty good here.
Excuse me. Norm, there was another question I had too. Van Keogh, K-E-O? Can we check and see if he's got a current prescription on eyeglasses?
Oh, stinger. This is a heating device. What they do is they plug this into the wall socket, and it's 2 pieces of metal. Usually, as you can see, it's an old nail clipper. As long as you keep them separated by a piece of cardboard or a piece of plastic, you can plug this into the wall, and this will start heating up cherry red hot. They put it in a cup of water, and it boils the water.
See, the tough part about that is that if it gets wicked hot, like you would have it, you know, on top of your stove, you can throw it at the staff.
Got your stinger.
Last year, 24 officers, or nearly 10% of the workforce, were violently assaulted by inmates, often during routine operations like this.
Somebody's got to watch your back. I mean, you can't be doing it. You got your eye in that camera right there. Some of these guys, I'm telling you, you know, you turn your back and you get lax and you walk into tears, someone can reach out and do something silly to you. Even if it's not life-threatening, you still don't want to be disrespected like that. So.
You gotta watch that camera guy, man. He's gonna get jumped. He's gonna get stabbed. Watch that. The camera guy.
Close 19.
Garcia, Cox, Cahill, Diver, Plymouth 1, Hernandez, Milos Ehebda, DDUs.
This morning, the security unit is trying to head off a racial conflict. Left unchecked, this is the sort of activity that can set off riots. Sergeant Steve Kennedy and Alex Rodriguez are assigned to a surveillance operation to monitor the inmates. From an observation gallery, Alex serves as the eyes, watching the inmates through one-way mirrored glass.
We picked up some information yesterday that a possible racial problem was happening yesterday. There was a large number of blacks and a large number of whites. Had a discussion. From there, they dispersed. And what we're doing today is just keeping an eye on what we call like the heavies. Guys who pretty much have a lot of word or say in the block.
He's trying to get a racial thing going between the whites and the blacks. Yeah, he's a white guy. He's an older white guy, maybe in his mid-40s, trying to get these younger kids up and coming to join him.
Walpole is an outdated, maze-like facility, but the IPS security unit has managed to turn the ventilation shafts and inner corridors into hidden listening posts.
They're aware that we do come down here and monitor them, but if they hear our radio going or if they hear us creak on one of the crates, what they'll do is they'll yell IPS behind the block, so that way it warns the other inmates in the unit that we're back there. But as long as we're quiet, they should have no indications that we're back there.
Be careful there with your flashlight because that window right there is not a one-way mirror. They can see you. We're gonna go up to the second floor now.
We head over to 33. Did you copy that?
Yeah, I'm there right now, but I can't make it out.
Yeah, did you get anything out of that?
What cell do you have them in?
The whole crew is in cell 34. But they're in front of the cell, so I don't know what you can pick up. They can see you out of it.
Back there, you wouldn't believe what you heard. You'll have one guy come over to another guy, Hey John, I'm looking to get a weapon, what do you got? Well, I know a guy who's got a 12-inch piece of steel, I know another guy who's got a pick. Oh, okay, all right, great, what do you want for it? Talking about who's making the home brew tonight and what time they're gonna get together and split it up. Whoa, you all right?
Walpole will always be Walpole. They're stuck with us and we're stuck with them until further notice, anyway.
Alex Rodriguez has particular first-hand knowledge about gangs from having been raised in the inner city. There are so many gang members here, they're kept isolated in 4 designated cell blocks to prevent them from gaining new recruits.
Yeah, we're gonna straighten that up.
Prison gangs are highly organized, making them the biggest threat to security. The mere presence of our cameras seems to have set them off.
Yeah, porque eso va a traer problemas.
Yeah, nobody's face is gonna be on.
I know that's not the point, though. You know what I'm saying?
It's not up to me. I just follow orders, man. We're gonna get them out of there.
What's going on?
Huh?
What's going on?
Yeah, they're not happy. So probably be better off to do it from outside. Okay. They didn't want you in that block. No, they didn't want us in there. Basically, they're just giving us a heads up. Hopefully we have that respect. We can relate with each other. It should be no big,
And who would they most be angry at?
Me. Why? Because I'm the gang officer and I should have known better, and that's how they play it.
Dealing with gangs involves unique risks. Their power can extend far beyond the prison walls.
About a year and a half ago, I had an incident where a number of guys showed up in front of my house, threatened me, basically told me to stop doing what I'm doing. But nothing assaultive, no physical action occurred. They walked away, I walked away. So it was a big thing. Sometimes you gotta be very careful on how you relate with these guys. If they want to find out where you live, they have no problem doing it.
Threats from inmates come in many forms. This afternoon, the security unit has intercepted an intimidating letter to a state prosecutor.
He wrote a letter to the district attorney's office, the state police call. It's a real nice letter. Dear Mr. O'Reilly, parentheses, Mr. Deadman. I hope that when you get this letter that I'm dead, I'm going to have my people put a bomb in your car. I'll also have a bomb in your house and yours. How's your wife doing? I'm sure you don't want anything to happen to her. And it also says, P.S. Get back to me, motherfucker. Because you'll die real soon, so count your blessings.
Kenny, I'd like you to take a look at this here, death threats and what have you. We need somebody to go down and take him out and have a word with him.
Okay. On the streets, you have a situation with the Middlesex attorney's office?
Yeah, I got a problem with them.
Did you write them any letters?
Yeah, I wrote them letters.
Recently?
About 2 weeks ago or something like that.
You're gonna have to start seeking some better avenues than this. You send out things to these people in these high places. It's gonna come back and haunt you, buddy. And you just came out of a situation over a weekend where you got involved with the officer doing the same damn thing.
Yeah, no, he threatened an officer yesterday too?
He threw juice in the officer's face and did threaten him with bodily harm and death.
You're not gonna go too far like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing time for, what are you doing time for?
For manslaughter, supposedly killing my uncle. And, I got a deep problem. I got like a personality problem. One minute I be a thugster, next minute I be a cry little, a shy little baby type person.
Okay. I can't think of anything else. Can you, Officer Rivera? Yeah, we're all set. Thank you.
I've been here 16 years, and everybody in here is a bad guy. An inmate, get under your skin. If they know more about you than what meets the eye here at your workplace, they're going to utilize that to their advantage, sure. No question about that. We hear stories that inmates, spit in the food. There's stories they squirted semen in the food. Anything, if something falls on the floor, they put it back in. The worst possible thing you can think someone can do to food, they've probably done it. So that's why you see a lot of the old timers will never touch it. They'll bring their own food. But I eat it.
Here's my question. Is Charlie begging because he wants to go to the yard?
Charlie's begging because, exactly, sir.
You tell Charlie that you're in charge of the tier, right, and that he'll get his recreation. However, he does not dictate to you when he goes to the yard. He'll be allowed to go to the yard when you decide he's to go out.
Right, sir.
Charlie Chase is considered the most violent and unmanageable inmate at Walpole. Originally convicted of armed robbery and murder, he has racked up a record 132 disciplinary offenses behind bars, earning him the longest sentence ever in the DDU.
That's right. Get him down. Get him. Yeah.
As far as Charlie's concerned, he's stripped all the time. His cell is shaken down because he's a major escape risk as well as a threat to the security of the institution. He's caught all the time with makeshift contraband. He's caught with weapons.
Okay. He's got a swastika painted right here, Steve. He's got one on his trap too.
He's very disruptive down here. I don't think there's been one consistent month that he's behaved himself, so his time down here isn't counting, and that goes on a month-to-month basis.
You think he's crazy?
crazy? Tries to come off like that, but theoretically, I don't think he's crazy, no.
Given his often bizarre behavior, Charlie's lawyers question whether solitary confinement is in fact driving him insane. Along with 10 other DDU inmates, Charlie is named in a class action lawsuit claiming that the DDU employs cruel and unusual punishment.
All this that you're witnessing is a conspiracy to keep a good man down. That's all it is.
He's a clown. No, it's not the right opinion, but he is.
How long you been in here, Charlie?
How long I've been here?
Yeah.
6 years this year.
When you getting out?
I don't know. I got another 9 years left. Yeah, they took a lot of good time from me, you know? Like I said earlier, it's like a conspiracy to set me up to leave me here, you know what I mean?
Okay. Thank you, Charlie.
We've had our problems down here. A lot of it's been with forced moves in the cells, inmates refusing to come out of their cells, refusing to exit their cells. So a team would be put together, wearing protective gear, and try to get him out.
Some DDU inmates are considered so dangerous that it can require as many as 6 officers in full body armor to extract them from their cells. This particular move involves inmate Charlie Chase. For legal reasons, such incidents are always videotaped by prison officials.
You accept that if you violate rules and regulations that you're going to be punished. But then there's a fine line between what's punishment and what's torture. You know, a guy that's behaving in an odd manner because of being psychologically unbalanced is a lot different than what I knowingly did. I escaped. I mean, I knowingly knew what I was doing. But an inmate that's having a psychotic episode and as a consequence of that behavior is put into DDU, something's very wrong with that. You know, that I have a problem dealing with.
When you go home tomorrow morning, what are you, wrapping up? What's it been like for you?
If we put microwaves and refrigerators and washers and dryers in their cells, they'd find something else to complain about. And, I mean, you can see their living conditions are not that bad.
Some of the most dangerous inmates here show serious symptoms of mental illness.
Hands right, your mouth.
And for the security unit, dealing with these individuals can be intensely frustrating.
Well, this inmate sent a letter to one of the mental health workers. He's been sending letters to everybody. So I'm just going to go through it and see what we've got here. A lot of it is just nonsense stuff. Aggravation type things. And there's a nice little package of something here. I have no clue what it is. I'm starting to get an aroma of it now, and it smells like human regurgitation.
You know how many letters I've gone through of yours over the last couple of months with feces in them and everything else in them? I mean, I don't really want to open it up because the letter stinks. And I'll probably stink up this whole room when I unseal this bag.
So what, did you, was a handwriting analysis expert, you know, hired to detect that was my handwriting?
It's not needed.
So you saying that there's no possible way that another inmate could have forwarded that, you know?
No, I'm just asking you if you wrote it. I'm not here to critique the contents of the letter. I don't think there's a need to send it to a lab or to have it analyzed. I'm asking you, did you write the letter?
It makes you feel like you want to do something to the guy to make it permanently stop. You know, deal with it directly in different ways, but it makes you feel pretty disgusting.
Do we have to screen every single piece of mail that you generate? Does it have to come to that? I hope it doesn't. It'd just be tedious for me, you know what I mean? I don't feel like checking your mail every single day.
I have no comment.
Well, it's about the end of this. Come on.
This individual also threw a nice big cup full of human feces on the clergyman as the clergyman was standing by his cell trying to help him out. The inmate proceeded to stab him in his arm and then throw a big fluffernutter container full of human excrement all over the clergyman. Okay. We'll deal with it. We'll deal with it. In fact, for that last escapade with the religious person, I think that's going to get him some DDU time.
In the main section of Walpole Prison, a major disturbance has broken out in one of the cell blocks. We're denied permission to film during the incident and are only now allowed briefly to see its aftermath.
I'm going to go down with the lieutenant. We're going to just make a round in the unit, see how things are going, take a peek in the cells, pull on the doors, just to get a general feel for what's going on. When you're doing something like that, maybe your counselor will stop you and they'll let you know what's up, give you a little feedback as to what's going on in that unit. How'd you end up in this? I seen you come up from Beverly's, right? Yeah, I didn't get caught up in that stuff.
This occurred because the inmates that were put in here were previously in a regular population block. They had BR privileges, they had chow hall privileges, and I guess it's their way of protesting it being returned to higher custody. We'll just go ahead and monitor. We'll monitor for any more ringleaders. If the ringleaders have to come out, they'll be taken out and be brought to seg. So we'll wait for the word from the top.
How often does this kind of happen?
Not very often anymore. Not very often anymore.
Later, Lieutenant Robert McGinnis shows some of the younger officers a videotape of what Walpole used to be like.
This was March 6, 1981. It was a very long day. It started at 7 o'clock in the morning with what we were going to consider routine moves to segregation of, I think, 5 or 6 inmates. I was at cell 15 down the end. I believe it was an inmate on the 3rd tier that was refusing to come out.
You ever seen this tape?
No, I have never seen this tape.
They're going in his cell. He's fighting. He's actually stabbed. The captain, you can see the blood.
Where were you while this was going on?
I'm one of those 4 or so officers that went down there, yeah. I was at the other end of the tier. We've gone down. And what happens at this point is the TAC members up in the gallery are introducing gas into the unit. At this point, we've introduced some officers with shotguns.
He's got a gas gun?
No, shotgun. I just think it was the strong will of the department to run its facilities and not allow inmates to run its facilities. And I think that concept holds true today, that, you know, we run the institutions, not the inmates.
They always say people in law enforcement have the highest divorce rate and this and that. And it always seems to be that they let themselves get stressed out, you know. They take everything in, or they, you know, being around inmates all the time. They're not here because they're the nicest people in society, you know. And prison life in general is depressing, you know.
How long are you in here for?
Prison for 27 years.
What'd you do?
2nd degree murder.
Not so long ago, there was an inmate murdered in here. As in other places of the prison, when you think, you know, it's not a dangerous place because you look around and you see, well, everyone's working. This particular incident happened first thing in the morning. They arrived to work, and by the end of the day, I mean, one was dead. So that's the kind of things that transpire right in this area here. One of those things.
There have been staff members over the years that have turned into alcoholics as a result of this job. We've had people commit suicide in this business. And I really think a lot of it is because they don't do something to relieve their stress outside of work.
What happens here? That alarm is always in the back of your head. When's it going to go off? What do I do if the alarm goes off? What's my job? If everybody does their little job, then we should be okay.
It could be anywhere from a homicide to just one inmate
yelling at the officer or
punching another inmate that the officer felt the need to freeze the place up.
That stress level is always there, yes. That's probably why our life expectancy is an average of 55 years.
Today at Walpole State Prison, inmate Louis Vega is going home. In just 30 minutes, he will leave solitary confinement in the DDU, be given a $50 check, and go directly back into society.
How long has it been, Louis?
How long has it been? 5 years, some months.
How's it feel now?
Feels good, you know. That's how it should feel, you know. After leaving these walls.
I think that when an inmate finishes his sentence and commits some sort of heinous crime within a short period of time, there's a hue and cry that, well, he never should have been released. Well, he had to have been released. He finished his sentence. And, you know, do we rehabilitate people? People want to have to change themselves. Most of the people that we see in our system are just career criminals, and doing time is just part of that business. It's a temporary setback.
I can't say I'm never coming back, because where I come from, you know, it ain't cookies and milk. So, and I'm going back home, back to the same place. I'm not gonna deny where I'm from, and I ain't gonna run from it either.
They're seeing you, and they're looking at you the way you know, conduct yourself, and they may try to emulate that. They may try to resent that, your authority figure.
No, you know.
Believe it or not, you know, it's like with anyone you meet or anything you do, you leave something behind no matter where you go or what you do. You leave something behind with somebody. I believe that, you know. Maybe you can leave a little something good that when they do get back out into society, you know, maybe you've done a little good. It's not too often that you feel like you've done some good.
I'm not gonna stay here till I'm growing old, you know what I mean? You're surrounded by concrete and bars, and all you're hearing all day is slamming doors and metal hitting metal, you know, I mean, it gets to you, you know? I've seen some people retire and 2 months down the road drop dead of a heart attack. It's all thrown away, you know, and that's not what I want to do.
Your plans when you get out of here in 20 years?
Oh, 20 years. I couldn't even tell you. I'm hoping that I can have my kids in school. You know, that's pretty much, I'm thinking of them instead of me. As long as I'm living and happy, I'm all set, pretty much.
This is our seniority list. When you make it to the front page, it's big of the seniority list. Right now, well, Kenny and Johnny are on the second page, and I'm at the. Well, I might have snuck into the second page.
After that.
These guys up at the top, boy, they're sitting pretty.
Yeah.
We wish we were them.
They're dead in 6 months.
You know,
Got one foot in the
hey.
grave.
Right?
I wish I
Guys,
was
30 years, 27, 25, 26, 25. You know, once they leave, you know, they're all done.
Of course, so that's what their mental capacity is after
That's right.
5 years. That's not doing too good.
They just want to stay so they can show off this front page.
I'll still be here.
Nice to transfer would be there.
So there you have it, an inside look of what Walpole State Prison used to look like. It is no longer open. It closed in June 16th of 2023. Like I always say, I present you with the facts. I give you my opinion on those facts. And if you like how I do that, click that like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, click all, so you can get notifications every time I drop one of these videos. If you're a supporter of the channel, much love and respect goes out to you. I salute. And if you're one of them haters, cut the shit. That part.